Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So here I am again with a new subject, that is network management. So in this module you will learn, or in this subject you will learn a lot more things about this network management. So since you have exams in few days, so I will just start with the module 1. So in this module 1 you will learn about the data communication and the network management overview. That is a basic concepts of this module 1, that is basic concepts of network management. So let's start this module 1 without wasting time. Yeah, so first question, that is the analogy of the network management. So how this network management is working, so let's learn about a lot of things about this network management. So yeah, so why this telephone network management? So whenever you make a call, so whenever you are trying to connect with other people, so we use a telephone network, correct? So telephone network management, why this telephone network management is so popular? It's because of the reliable, dependable, and hence provides a good quality of services. So that is why this architecture of the telephone network is so popular and is hierarchical. Okay, so this telephone network model, so how the connection is exists between these two models. So let's learn, that is the telephone network model. So here in this telephone network model, so I will explain this telephone network model with the help of this diagram. So yeah, let's start with this diagram. In this telephone network model, so here you have two users, correct? So user A and user B, you might have heard this name Elias and then Bob, but you can say user A and user B, so name it or whatever you want. These are the two users, they need to connect through the telephone. Okay, so how they are connecting, so these are the telephone network model, how it works. This is just a model. So yeah, here you have a three major concepts, that is one is the user. So one is the user and call centers and end office and trunk. Okay, so these are the three major concepts. So how they are connected with each other. So here we have different types of call centers. If they ask in exam how to write, so if they ask in question, for example, write about or explain telephone network model. So what and all you need to write. So begin with telephone network. Why this is so popular? As I said, it's reliable and dependable. So that's why it provides a good quality of service. Start with that and move on to the telephone network model. So how this is defined in telephone network model, we have type 5 different classes, that is class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5. And how to remember this classes, I have one simple letter, that is starting, remember with the starting letters of each word, that is RSPTE. So remember this RSPTE. So R is nothing but a regional center, S is nothing but a sectional center, P is nothing but primary center, tall center, and then end office. So if you have this RSPTE word, you can write a whole diagram. I'm telling you, whole diagram. So here you have 5 classes: regional, sectional, primary, tall center, end office. Here also you have regional, sectional, 5 primary, tall center of another user, that is user B of user B is a model. So how they are connected? So here their connection is established, or connection is explained through the example of trunk. So in trunk we have different types of trunk, that is directed trunk, tall connecting trunk, and tall trunk. Direct trunk, tall connecting trunk, and then tall trunk. So loop, and one more concept is loop. So loop is nothing but connection between voice or the user to end office. So loop is nothing but connection to user to end office. Okay, and direct trunk, so the three types of trunks are there. I said you before, there are 3 types of trunk: direct trunk, tall connecting trunk, and then tall trunk, correct? So what is the difference between direct trunk, tall connecting trunk, and a tall trunk? So direct trunk is nothing but it's connect to end offices. Okay, direct trunk is nothing but connects to end offices. Tall connecting trunk connects end office to center or class, tall center. Tall connecting trunk, as the name says, it's connect end office to tall center. And the tall trunk, so tall trunk is nothing but connects two centers or 2 classes. For example, here the voice is connected with the help of a loop. Okay, and end office is connected with the help of direct trunk, and end office and a tall center is connected through the help of tall connecting trunk, and each tall center is connected with the help of tall trunk. Okay, for example, class 1 need to connect with the class 2 with the help of tall trunk. So these two tall trunks are used. So how to write this diagram? As I said, RSPTE, remember this RSPTE, write from top to down RSPTE, and you can also write top to down, that is RSPTE. And here upward arrow mark, since it's a sender to receiver, this is a sender. From here you are going to here. So that is sender to receiver. So we need to write these things. And the next, this regional center gives can connect with the other five classes. So it can connect with the regional center, section center, primary center, call center, and again RSPTE. Okay, and this sectional center can connect to other three, that is half of this five parts, that is PTE, that is primary center and tall center and end center. This primary center can connect to other telephone network model with the class tall connecting trunk and the end offices. So this much you can write. So first write about all these five classes, that is RSPTE, and then next write the different types of trunk, how it is connected with each other, and explain about the diagram. So how it is written and what are the different other types it can connect to. So that's about telephone network model. And next we have telecommunication network. What is this data? How the data being transmitted? How the telecommunication network being transmitted? So in data transmission we have three modes. That is circuit mode, packet switch mode, and then message mode. So here in data transmission we have three types of mode. One is circuit switch, message switch, and then packet switch. Circuit switch, as the name says, there is a physical circuit established between the originating and then terminating ends. For example, this is a user A and this is a user B. There will be the physical network connection between the user A and B. So this is A and this is B. Okay, there will be this physical circuit establishes between the user A and user B. Once the data transmission is completed, this network will be destroyed, or this circuit will be disconnected. Okay, that is nothing but a circuit switch. When we come to this message and then packet switch, here the data is broken into the packets. Each packet is enveloped with the destination originating address. So here the data will be divided into small packets. So each packet will contain the destination address, source address, and then destination address as well. So why do we use the different kinds of message and then packets, since they have same type of processing, correct? So then why do we need this message and then packet? Message switching is for the long messages such as emails, whereas this packet switching is used for a very small or small quantity or the small data. For example, this mode is used for the interactive messages. So used in applications such as interactive communication, where we send a small data and we receive a small packet of data. So that is the packet switched. So that is how it is used. And the next one is data and telecommunication network. How the data being transmitted in telecommunication. While doing the telecommunication, how the data will be transmitted. Here in the telecommunication network, circuit switch network will be used. As the name says, circuit means there will be a physical circuit establishes between the sender and then receiver. So this will be destroyed once the connection, or this will be disconnected once there is a complete transmission of data. Okay, so this is how it will be used in the telecommunication. There are few services provided by some organization. Okay, we call them as a telecommunication service providers. These telecommunication service providers provide these services or provide this use to the users. Okay, so that is nothing but telecommunication service provider. For example, Airtel, Vodafone, BSNL, etc. These are the telecommunication service providers. Okay, how this is connected means a host is connected to an end office, communicates with the other host connected to another end office. Okay, through the modems available at each end. So this is a host. For example, this is a host. So communicates with the other host which is connected to another end office. Okay, so which is connected to another end office. These communicate with the help of modem. Okay, so that is it. So there will be a host connected to an end office, communicates with other hosts connected to another end office through the modem. So through modems they communicate with each other. And next, this is also telecommunication network model. So simple, with the help of PBX. We use here PBX. That's it. And next, distributed computing environment. Here, to explain this distributed computing environment, we use a simple client server model. So how client server model helps in distributed computing environment? You know, distributed computing is nothing but where a computation runs parallelly in a distributed environment, where we have two different types of computing, and that will be distributed, and that will be sent to client and server, correct? So yeah, so with the help of client and server we have to explain. So write one box, write another one box, write two triangle. That's the end of the diagram. So this client sends an request to the server, and the server responds with an what the client is asking. So this client will send the request and the server will respond. That is it. So client will request to the server and waits. What the server will do, it will execute the process and requested the services and sends the result to the client. That's it. And the next, so with the model of client server, as I said, so this that is the explanation of client server model. So when we have too many what we can say, too many requests from the client, then it will follow the FIFO order. For example, this will be these are the different types of requests here. So this is the first the request was this one, so it will give access to this one. Okay, that is it. That's the first in first out rule. This is the first come, so it will be first served. That's it. And so in order to reduce the minimize of delay, so since they have to wait, there will be a delay. So in order to minimize this delay, we can use a concurrent processing. That means concurrent processing of requests, parallel processing of this request can be done. So with the explanation of this diagram, we have distributed computing network. Here you have a three major component, that is the client, mail server, and then domain name server. So how it will do is, this is a concurrent processing is happening. So whenever the client, that is need to communicate with the other destination, that is destination dot joe dot destination. So that's the destination that joe dot stone need to communicate. So how it will do is, first it will communicate with the mail server communicate with the DNS responds back with the response, and that will be sent to the receiver. That's it. So we have three communication happening with the client A and the client B and the server. So each will communicate with the server. This is also communicating with the response getting. This is also communicating with the server, and it also gets a response back. This is the multiple clients when we have multiple clients. So when we have, this is the dual role of client server. So how we can explain this dual role? I will explain it once again. What is this dual role? So the name is saying something different, correct? What is this dual role? For example, when I say the client requests something to server, here this will be a client and this will be server. So whenever this mail server asks something to domain name server, this will be client and this will be server. Correct. So here the mail server is having a both client server role. Correct. So that is what we say as a client server dual role. That's it. And moving on to the next concept, that is TCP IP based internet and then intranet. Here we need to explain what is this internet, what is this intranet, and what is this TCP IP, everything. So I have already marked this, so just ignore that. Yeah, so TCP IP is an protocol that enables the network to be interconnected. Okay, so in order to establish interconnection between any two network, we use this TCP and IP. Okay, TCP IP is the basic foundation of internet. So what is this internet? I will explain it here. Yeah, so TCP IP form the basic foundation of this internet. So TCP, it's a connection oriented. Here you have a two transport layer protocol, that is TCP. Another one is a UDP. TCP is a connection oriented protocol, and whereas UDP is the connection less protocol. Okay, so UDP, because of its reliability in data transmission, we use UDP and IP. But here, in order to maintain the data being transmitted accurately to the destination, we use the TCP. So since IP, so coming to the next concept, that is IP. IP is a connectionless protocol. Here that means there is no guarantee of packets that will be delivered to the destination node. We cannot guarantee that the packets will be delivered to the destination node. So for this reason we use TCP. So TCP guarantees that the data will be transmitted to the destination node at any cost. So now, we are done with the TCP and IP. Next, moving on to the next, internet and then intranet. What is this internet? Internet is nothing but interconnection of network. That is interconnection of network. Network of network is nothing but internet. So private network is nothing but intranet. Okay, so private network is nothing but intranet. So I will explain it with the diagram how this internet and then intranet is there. Internet is a intranet is very private network where you have access to only to that enterprise or that who owns it. They have only access to that network. Whereas internet is public. Okay, so it can be accessed to anyone. So international, that means interconnection between two different nations. That is international. Intranational, that is much within a nation. that is within, that is between, that is internet. Within is nothing but intranet. So that is a major difference between internet and then internet. And yeah, moving on to the next concept, that is moving on to the internet configuration diagram. So how it will be, so here you have one different network and here you have another different network, and so these are connected with the LAN and these are connected with the LAN, and these are interconnected by WAN. Okay, so this is interconnected by WAN. So that is nothing but internet. So interconnection of two network. So this is one network, this is one network. So these are interconnected by one more network with the help of WAN. So here as you can see, so here you have LAN, LAN, LAN. They are all interconnected with the help of bridge and router. And this LAN and WAN is interconnected with the help of gateway interface. Okay, so LAN and LAN will be interconnected by bridge and router, whereas LAN and WAN will be interconnected by gateway. So that's the one more thing you need to notice, make notice of. So I will repeat, LAN is one network, this is one network and this is one more network. These two are interconnected with the WAN. That's it, you need to write. And the next, we have internet fabric model. So why do we need this internet fabric model? Because there is an interconnection between LAN and WAN and LAN and LAN and WAN and WAN, correct? So and a WAN and a user. So these are the different types of interconnection we have. So the interface between these will be explained by this internet fabric model. First, how to write this? Write 6 different rings. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then 6. So start with internet and then WAN and then LAN and then user. This is in the proper order. So internet is the biggest, which covers a wide area, and WAN is a wide area network and LAN is a local area network, and then user plane. So user plane has a workstation. So these are the where the user interacts with. So the interconnection or the interface between the internet and the WAN, that is nothing but a gateway. Okay, the interconnection between the LAN and the WAN is nothing but switching fabric. Okay, the interconnection between the user plane and the LAN is nothing but MAC fabric, that is media access control fabric. So you have different types of interfaces: gateway, switching and then fabric. So the interface between the internet and the WAN is nothing but a gateway. Interface between the WAN and LAN is nothing but a switch fabric. WAN and user face is nothing but a MAC fabric. That's what you need to write in the internet fabric model. And the next, moving on to the next concept, that is communication protocol and then standard communication architecture. How the communication happens between the two users. So in order to communicate with the two users, there will be two broad set of communication layer. One is the application layer, another one is the transport layer. Here you have, one is the application layer and the bottom set is a transport layer. So application layer and communicate with the physical medium. There will be physical medium exists between the two layers. So here you can see application layer, transport layer. Physical medium will be existed, and then again you have application layer and then transport layer and then application layer. System user A is communicates with the user B. So whenever we have intermediate medium, so there will be one more medium will be present between the transport layer conversion, and then again we transmit the data. And then next, in order to communicate, we use a OSI model. So OSI model is a very familiar to you. So here you have 7 different layers, starting from a physical layer to application layer, physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport, session, presentation and application layer. So physical medium will be there. So from user to physical medium, we have these 7 layers. Again back from physical medium to user, again we have these 7 different layers. So you just need to learn that. So here you use one PDU concept, that is a protocol data units. So the data units per protocol. Okay, so protocol per protocol data unit. So in each protocol the data units will increase. So in each layer the data will be increased. So as you can see here, the protocol PDU is getting increased in each layer. So this user A has user B, it's communicated from here and the data will be transferred from go back to here. So that is how it works. And next unit explains just working of the use of the each layer. So it's physical layer, data link layer, transport, session, presentation, application. So you need to explain the different layers. You can just explain in a single line and what and all you know. So that's it about that OSI model. And yeah, moving on to the next concept, that is the challenges of IT managers. So what are the challenges? What are the issues faced by the IT managers? Yeah, so IT managers maintain a both telecommunication network. So IT managers, they need to maintain both communication and then telecommunication network. So because so they are both types are slowly merging in function. So for example, the person needs to maintain this computer as well as the network management. So both they need to be interconnected and both need to be maintained properly. And next concept is the responsible for management of information, because the information need to be managed and stored properly, because the data is getting increased day by day. So they need to be kept updated to the new technologies, because the technology is growing so fast and so enormous. They need to be keep updated because they cannot stick on to the old model. And the next we have contingency to change the direction when the IT industry does. So whenever the IT industry changes direction, the network management, all the IT managers also need to change the direction. They may face the administrative and the management problem, because this corporate world runs 24/7. Okay, so that's the role, that's the problem of IT managers. So information technology managers, that's a human problem. So whenever we are talking about the network, so what are the challenges faced while managing the network? So here the problem faced by the managing the network is analyzing problem. So while analyzing the problems requires the skills and intuition, that's the one problem. And anticipating a customer demand is another problem. We need to analyze, understand the customer demand, and acquiring the resources, client server environment, and network emerging technology. So and a collaborative research. So we need to do the research properly, and reliability should be maintained. So we need to maintain or diagnose the problem with the non-disruptive manner. In a non-disruptive manner is very very important. And estimating the value of technology transition. So whenever we are doing a transition from one technology and another technology, we need to evaluate it properly. And maintaining the firewall security and sustainable network building is very very important. And rapid advancement in technology, so increasing in the technology invention is increasing day by day, so we need to adopt to that also. And determining the responsibility of outages to the WAN, so that's also one of the challenges faced during the managing the network. So in the next concept we have network management goals, organization and function. So this is also important concept. Here we maintain the goal, we write about the goal, organization and function of network. So why do we need this? So what is the goal of this network management? So the network management goal is simple. So the goal of this is to ensure that user receives the network services, that is IT services, with the quality of service they accept. So they receive the IT services, that is telephone communication, message transmission, etc., etc., all internet services. All these IT services they receive with the quality of the service they expect. So if the customer is satisfied, then the network management goal is fulfilled. That is it. And moving on to the next concept, that is management function. So I will explain this with the help of this diagram. So then only it will be helpful for you to learn it properly. And yeah. So here in this network management, you have different concept, that is the network provisioning. So I will draw with this only. In network management, we have different departments: network provisioning, network operation, and network maintenance. For example, if you have a school, okay, so you need to have different departments: accounts department to maintain the fees and everything, examination department to conduct an exams, and a teaching department to teach, and non-teaching staff to maintain the properly, and a technical department to figure out the technical problems. And we have different departments to look after the one network of school, correct? So similarly, in order to maintain the network, we have different groups, that is network provisioning, operation, and then maintenance. To starting up with the network provisioning. Yeah, network provisioning is helpful in planning and designing of a network. That's the use of this network provisioning. And so network operations. So network operations have fault management, configuration management, performance, security, and accounting. So first I will go with the network maintenance, and then I will come with the network operation. Yeah, so next one is fault management. Whenever there is a node failure, for example, this is the one user to user. Whenever there is a node failure, where if this node is failed, for example, they fail to transmit the data. So what it will do is, so NOC, that is Network Operation Center, will immediately diagnose this problem. So whenever there is a service failure, so NOC is responsible for restoring the services as soon as possible. And detection and isolation causing the problem, and restoration of service, these are the major tasks that will perform. So whenever there is an FPO failure, it will automatically heal. If it automatically heals, then we call it as a self-healing. So if it not, NOC must take care of it. And the next one is a trouble ticket administration. Whenever we have a problem, whenever we have different problems noticed, this trouble ticket administration will keep track of it, whether the failure is has been resolved or not. That will be keep tracked by this double ticket administration. And moving on to the next, that is configuration management. Here you have a set of configurations maintained. So yeah, coming to this network installation is that is different. We need to install, how we need to install, that's it. And coming to this network operation, here you have a fault again, and the next one is configuration. So fault management is similar to this one, and the next one is the configuration management. In configuration management, we have three types of management. There is static, and one more is permanent configuration, and the third one is planned configuration. Static configuration is nothing but where the configuration of network which does not change, and the permanent configuration is also the same thing where it will not change at any cost until the management wants to change that too. And the one more is the next one is we have dynamic or the planned configuration, where here the configuration data will change if the network is changed, as the network changes. So whenever there is a change in the network, this planned configuration is also changes. So that's about planned configuration. And moving on to the next one, that is a performance and then traffic management. Here how the performance is done is keep tracked by this performance management. Here what and all other function it will do is, so it will tune the network. It will tune the network for an optimum performance. For example, whenever we need to tune the network in order to get the high performance, that will be tuned automatically with this performance management. And the next one is security management. So security, as you all know, the data being keep track of the data being transmitted, everything. So this covers a physical security as well, and it will keep track of the access privilege. So who has access to the node or network, it will be keep tracked by this security management. And the next one is accounting management. Here, so it will keep track of the usage of resources and the service provided. So it will keep track of the both different aspect, that is usage of resources and as well as the service provided. Okay, so that's the use of this accounting management. And then next we have reports and inventory, and this all that's not given in the textbook, so you don't need to worry about it. You can just write about it, that's it. So that's all explanation is given here. You can just read it out. And then next, moving on to the next important concept, that is network management, Dumbbell architecture. So whenever you are constructing a network, you need to have some architecture already designed, correct? So we have one architecture already predefined, that is a Dumbbell architecture. So I'll explain it with the help of this diagram in the components of message. So yeah, so we have vendor, we have interpolability defined here. So how the network will work here. So the Dumbbell architecture interpolability is defined here. So I'll explain it with this diagram. Okay. So in a Dumbbell architecture, they have defined components of message. So in a component common management message, it's given it that is a functional and then service and then protocol. What are the service and protocol that must be present? So here in this we have application service, management protocol, and a transfer protocol. So what is the use of this each and everything I'll explain. So application service. So this will have all the related applications such as fault management, configuration management, and everything will be maintained by this application service. And this management protocol. We have two different model, that is one is for OSI model and SNMP for internet model, correct? So OSI model uses CMIP protocols, and SNMP uses the internet SNMP, that is internet model uses SNMP protocol. So these different protocols will be managed by this management protocol. And the next we have transport protocols, that is transport first 4 layers of OSI model will be used by this will be saved here, and internet model uses the first 2 layers of the TCP/IP model. We have two different models, OSI and then TCP/IP. OSI saves this four models, and whereas this internet model uses this first two layers of this TCP/IP protocol. So that will be helpful for transportation, correct? Thus will be stored and used here in the transport protocol. So this objects communicates with this another objects of the another vendor with the help of these three services they have. So this is explained here in this diagram, network interpolability. So NMS vendor A and NFS of the network management system of vendor A and network management system of vendor B is communicated with the help of messages and then service protocol. So messages and service protocol is defined here in this diagram. So this is the message and this is a service protocol. So in service protocol we have application management and transport protocol that are given, and the network management and network agent is connected with the objects so they can communicate with each other. So that is all. That's about the dumbbell architecture. You just need to write about this dumbbell architecture. So this is about this module 1. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts and queries, or if you have any issues, so just comment it down below. I will attach the notes of this marked. So I just used TIE notes, but still I have highlighted the few important points. So if you want to read this important points, if you want to note it down, so you have that notes link in the description below. You can just access it. So access it. That's for this video. Thank you for watching, and like, share and subscribe for more.